Beam? Senator Beam, sorry.
Honourable Senators, it is my great pleasure to rise today to speak as the sponsor of Bill C-4, an act to implement... I have to move.
Are you moving second reading?
Yes, I am.
By the
Thank
Honourable
you.
Senator Beam, seconded by the Honourable Senator Gold, that this bill be read a second time on debate. Senator Beam?
I'm back. Honourable Senators, it is my great pleasure to rise today to speak as the sponsor of Bill C-4, an act to implement the agreement between Canada, the United States of America, and the United Mexican States. Like all of you colleagues, I did not expect this to happen today, but we do, of course, find ourselves in a global public health crisis. In fact, I had a 45-minute speech ready to go. I think this one will be about 5 or 6 minutes. The COVID-19 pandemic demands that we take extraordinary measures to keep ourselves and all members of the Senate family safe. This is why we have been recalled this morning to deal with urgent government business. Otherwise known in Canada as CUSMA, la CEUM en français, or the new NAFTA, and USMCA in the United States, and TMEC in Mexico, this trinational agreement is essentially a modernized version of the original treaty of 1994. It is a NAFTA for the 21st century. Regardless on which side of the political fence you sit, or squarely on top of it, as I sometimes do, this agreement is a win for Canada and for our national economy, our industry, our agriculture and agri-food sector, and our workers. All Canadians win. Once implemented, it will not only protect Canadian jobs, but it will help to prepare us for the jobs of the future. It will also ensure long-term stability, predictability, and most importantly, growth in the North American market. Nous ne devons pas seulement être...
We should not just be happy with the end result of more than a year of difficult negotiations with at least one especially challenging opponent. We should also be happy with the team that has brought us to this point. Canada's negotiating team, and it was indeed a team, led by then Minister of Foreign Affairs, Chrystia Freeland, and our chief trade negotiator, Steve Verhoeven, was comprised of some of Canada's and the world's best and brightest public servants. I am honoured to have worked with many of them in my previous career. All Canadians should feel very proud of the people who represent us and advocate for our interests internationally.
Version of my planned second reading. I just wanted to put that on the record. My original plan would be to go back to 1854 and the original reciprocity agreement, taking us through to 1911, the reciprocity election, and the like. So I'm sparing you. I'm sparing you that, and I can feel and sense your disappointment. I'd also wish to offer some remarks about the bilateral relationship between Canada and Mexico, as that important bond is often overshadowed by the one we share with the United States. Canada's relationship with Mexico has blossomed from us seeing Mexico as a lovely winter tourism destination to a key trading partner since the original NAFTA was enacted in 1994. It was our first formal deal with Mexico, and since then our relationship has flourished and will continue to do so. This agreement, signed in Mexico City on December 10, 2019, bolsters the original deal of 1994 by modernizing key chapters, some of which certainly warranted review. Renegotiating NAFTA was definitely not something Canada nor Mexico wanted, although there was a general recognition that some changes should be made. After all, in the interval, we had entered the digital age, our global supply chains had multiplied significantly, and our environment had become more threatened. We were pushed into negotiations about a trade deal that has served Canada and North America very well by any measure for more than 25 years. The choice with which we were presented seemed to be a better NAFTA or no NAFTA at all, and the question was on whose terms. We chose the latter and came away with an agreement that maintains all the most important elements of NAFTA for our country while improving on a number of them. Plus d'un an de négociations houleuses.
More than a year of challenging negotiations and uncertainty for businesses and workers across the continent finally led to a good deal signed in November 2018. Then came more than a year of delay on ratification because congressional Democrats wanted amendments on labor standards and environmental policies. The changes make the updated agreement signed last December that much stronger, but the extended delay led to further uncertainty and worry. Many were especially and justly concerned, given political events in the United States.
Handled by our team made finally getting to this point that much more satisfying. Though I imagine our negotiators would have felt plenty satisfied had this been wrapped up without these great challenges. Our negotiating team did a superb job in difficult circumstances. Its members certainly deserve our thanks and respect, not just for getting Canadians a strong deal, but for their dedicated service to our country. The government's NAFTA Council also deserves credit for its work. It included a diverse selection of prominent Canadians of all backgrounds and political stripes, including, among others, Rona Ambrose, the former interim leader of the Conservative Party, Perry Bellegarde, the National Chief of the Assembly of First Nations, James Moore, a former Conservative MP and Minister, and Hassan Yousuf, President of the Canadian Labour Congress since 2014. The hard work of our entire team led to a deal that has been strongly endorsed by important groups, including the Council of the Federation, comprised of Canada's 13 provincial and territorial premiers, a crucial base of support, the Canadian Chamber of Commerce, and the Federation of Canadian Municipalities. All have urged quick ratification to not only end years of uncertainty for the Canadian business community, but also for industry and workers, and also so that Canadians may finally benefit from a modern, progressive trade agreement. As a final point, I wish to thank the members and the dedicated staff of our very temporary, and much more temporary than I had thought, Standing Committee on Foreign Affairs and International Trade, as well as the witnesses who appeared over our 3 meetings this past week. Honourable Senators, I submit that this is a good deal for Canada and for all Canadians, indeed for all North Americans, that will ensure stable, reliable, predictable trading partnerships with our continental neighbours for years to come. The new NAFTA is an agreement of which you can proudly vote in favour, and I urge you all to do so, my colleagues. Thank you. Merci beaucoup.